Smoke is quieting down. Seems like we've got to a lot of the smoke. Dub, you got smoke?
What's going on, y'all? We are back with the files. All right. Now listen. This weekend, we was trying to get the information from Mark, Joe, Imani, and Ian, okay? But they would not give up any information on Mel like it was top secret information, all right? Now, a lot of people have been trying to figure out if she's coming back or not, but we can't figure it out. A lot of people trying to figure out, is Melyssa Ford the problem in this whole thing? Now, that's a question that's been burning in my mind too, right? I've been trying to connect the dots, okay? I've been, dipping through some of her past relationships, some of her business moves, and a trail of some of the broken friendships that she's left behind. And the deeper I went, the clearer the picture became. Let's break it down, right? First off, why does it always seem like Melyssa Ford doesn't have any friends? Or maybe the better question is, why do all her friendships crash and burn? From the outside looking in, Mel appears to constantly chase business friendships, partnerships, and alliances, but they almost always end badly. Is she really searching for connections, or is she attaching herself to who's hot at the moment because, she doesn't have that foundation of genuine friendship? All right, I don't know. Hazel E and Mel were friends at a time. Melyssa's friendship with Hazel E is one of the first files we got to pull up.
Her and I were friends. She had an apartment. She was like, I can ask for a 2-bedroom. I'm good with the, management company. Cool. So we're going to do this. I'm going to try LA on for a year and see if I want to stay here. So I decided to live with her. So I maintained my own life, and part of my life didn't include her. And I started to feel like she was becoming very resentful about that. And then one day on Twitter, you and a couple of other girls, you went from 9 a.m. until midnight. Y'all tweeted the most heinous, fucked up, horrible things about me that are even difficult for me to even fucking say.
Who were the girls that I did it with? Natasha?
Natasha and what's that bitch's name? Denise. Who was on.
They're both your friends now though, right?
No.
Natasha is right?
No, I'm cool with Natasha, and the only reason.
Natasha the black girl?
Yes.
That married the white man?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. They met at a Nick Cannon Wildin' Out party back when Hazel E was in her PR bag, making things go viral. Hazel E had motion, all right? And Melyssa knew it. They clicked instantly. They both, were getting to the bag at that time. But let's be honest. I think Mel got the better end of that deal. You feel me? In 2008, Mel was tired of New York City and wanted to try her hand in LA. So Hazel came through as a true friend that she is, asked her building management team to hook them up, with a 2-bedroom apartment because Mel was coming through. But here's the thing. Mel always aligns herself with who's hot or what's hot. And Hazel was hot at that time. She was lit. You feel me? Now, Hazel E admitted her wrongdoings later on. She said she sided with a girl named Eva during the beef with Mel. She even went out her way to say years later that she would sit down with Mel and rekindle the friendship and all of that, feel me? But Mel, nah. She said what Hazel E did was unforgivable and all. Like, come on, Mel, we got to be forgiving people. But here's the twist. Mel's friend, Natasha Ellie, did the exact same thing Hazel E did. Went online and slandered Mel's name. But Mel cut Hazel E off for life and got Natasha around. Sus. That's like a double standard. And the answer reveals a lot about who Mel keeps close. See, Natasha Ellie is more well-off than Mel. She's always been. And if you pay attention, Mel tends to stick by the people who have more money, power, or influence. Natasha, all right, she had that. And at the time, she was cool with this chick named Denise, who was also, what Hazel is to Mel. And they had a feud. And when that feud broke out between Hazel and Mel, Denise and Natasha fell out too. But check what happened. Mel ended up staying cool with Natasha. Why? Because Natasha had more to offer, all right? She's an actress. She's been in films. She was on the show Chicago PD. But check this out, too, right? Who was just Mel's recent boyfriend? The guy from Chicago PD. Y'all don't see the pattern? It's almost like Natasha is Mel plug. You know what I'm saying? For the dudes, maybe for the shows, for the movies, for the little low budget joints Mel is doing. Who knows? Mel keeps the person around her who can elevate her. Even if that same person did the exact same thing she cut somebody else off for. All right? It's survival tactics, but it's also opportunism. All right? And this is where it gets deeper. On the Joe Budden podcast, Mel admitted before she doesn't have a relationship like that with her sister. Okay? She says, they talk on the phone here and there and all of that, but it's not like that. It's not that strong. So what is she going to do? She goes out and goes to try to find sisterhood in every other woman in the industry. That's not right. That's not good. That's not copacetic. All right? And it's always blowing up in your face. The Lord ain't going to bless you for that. The Lord ain't going to bless you for that. You got Hazel E, Blue Toulousma, Takara, S. White, Eva, Geneva Thomas, Demetria Lucas. Like the list of women that Mel fell out with goes on, all right? And makes you think, is this about them or is this about a void that Mel's trying to fill at home? Like maybe the therapy ain't working. Maybe it ain't working, sis. It ain't. All right? Some people have family at home, but seek what they have at home outside. I hope that ain't the case for Mel. I hope that ain't the case for you, Shorty. I really don't. Now, Demetria Lucas, the real friend who turned stranger. This one surprised me. Demetria Lucas was Mel's real friend. Somebody who cared about her, right? Before the cameras, okay? When Mel got into that horrific car accident and all that, Demetria hit up a mutual friend immediately. She didn't run to the blogs. She cared. But when she did update the internet later, it was out of concern, right? She did it from the heart, okay? So you would think Demetria would be by Mel's side forever, right? Wrong, okay? Demetria and Mel fell out after their show Blood, Sweat, and Heels. Reports say Demetria was a peacemaker during Mel's feud with Geneva Thomas, but Mel's energy was always ready for violence, okay? Demetria wasn't with that. She got up out of there. Fast forward. Demetria has a successful podcast, okay? She went on a rant about Mark Lamont Hill being on the JBP a couple months back in May. She got at Ish for his lack of intelligence. She even shaded Mark's financial situation.
And old boy Ish, is that his name? You really want to argue in public in the year of our Lord 2025 about child labor, the history of the civil rights movement, and whether the earth is flat with anyone, period, but specifically with someone with a PhD while cameras and recording devices are running. Yeah, that happened. Yeah. I see what Mark is trying to do, and I respect him for going into the space where he is needed and trying to contribute knowledge and try to reach people where they are with said knowledge. Bruh, I fear that he's going to run into the Jay-Z, no, conundrum is not the right word, but philosophy maybe. When you argue with fools, people from a distance can't tell who is who. Once I spoke with a mutual friend, I was like, I see where he's trying to go here, but abort mission. Do you hear the frustration in my voice? This is just me watching clips.
And all that. But the part that stood out most to me was that she never even once mentioned Mel's name until she admitted she was avoiding it on purpose for professional reasons.
To expand. I don't know that these men that he's sitting in the room with have that capacity. I specifically say to men because what I'm speaking about doesn't apply to the woman in the room. As a professional courtesy, I keep her name out my mouth. No beef, just something I choose to do. The clips that I've seen of him.
And that's code, okay? That means there was smoke there. When people say there was no beef, there was beef, okay? And I also had to wonder, she was Mel's old friend. Girls talk. Does Demetria have the dating info about Mark and Mel? On her part, she kept saying mad good things about Mark and how she knows this about Mark, yada, 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 yada. I just couldn't help but wonder. Now, let's zoom in on how this can trickle down to the Joe Budden podcast, right? Mel runs the same playbook here, okay, that she did with Jason Lee. Remember, she admitted Jason used to that she admitted. Remember, she admitted Jason used to line her up with guests in a dating type way on Hollywood Unlocked, trying to make her trying to make everything about her. You feel what I'm saying? And she ain't really like it, but she tolerated it. And on the JBP, it's the same thing, maybe worse. Every dude that comes up there to run and joke is always about Mel flirting or men flirting with her. All right. She verbally said she had a problem when Jason Lee did it. But with Joe, she just sits through it. Why? Why? Because the spotlight is too hard to walk away from it, it seems, even if it chips away at her dignity. And now, Mel hasn't been on a pod like that, okay? And everybody's doing these think pieces about her. She hates this type of stuff. She hated when Blue Toulousma, got more love than her in the comments. And now people are in the comments online saying she shouldn't come back to the JBP. It's almost the same thing. She doesn't like this. That's why the JBP hasn't played into it online, because they don't want to hurt her feelings, and, they want her to come back. Or if she go, it got to just be on her own, not about them dogpiling on her while she wasn't even there. You feel me? So the $1 million question is, will Mel come back to the JBP, or will this backlash keep her away? Think about it. Every friend she's had in the industry, Hazel, Blue, Eva, Takara, Geneva, Demetria, out of here, gone. The only ones who stick are the ones with money, access, and power. Is Melyssa Ford the problem, or is she just a woman searching for sisterhood in all the wrong places? Looking for sisterhood in all the wrong places. Been around, seen a lot of pretty faces. Woo! Come on, Mel. Come on, y'all. Don't crucify me for my singing. I ain't an R&B, but that was hard, though. That was hard bars, all right? But now I got some questions for y'all, right? Do you think Melyssa Ford's pattern of aligning with people who have been more to... Now, let me ask you guys some questions for a second. Do you think Melyssa Ford's pattern of aligning with people who have more to offer proves she's opportunistic or just strategic? Why would she forgive Natasha Ellie but never Hazel E? And is her broken relationship with her sister the root cause of all these failed friendships? And the biggest one, should she even return to the JBP, or is her time in the spotlight finally up? Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and we'll be back with the files.
My guy Dub too. That's my man though.
Gang gang.
That's my man, Big Dub.